Welcome back, Manitoba Power. I'm D.
I'm T. Remote
Excellent.
epi
Remote episode, emergency episode.
emergency episode, but needed. Yeah.
Breaking news. Your
Breaking news.
the knee sleeves you sold to your buddy for $50 are now back on the menu.
Yeah. So he's gonna charge you $120 for him.
Yeah, exactly.
You
What?
got a good markup.
Yeah, what an embarrassing debacle. Like
It was a
the
fumble.
everybody made money except for the athletes got screwed again. Like
That's sport.
that's
That's a
sport for
development
you.
of sport. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up the actual IPF statement here, and this was leaked, I think, by Titan, um, and it was dated Monday, May 13th. So it took a couple days to be leaked, but this specific letter is um, has the Titan CEO or whoever it is at the top, then their brand name, their address, and then it just says. Trust this message finds you well. During the April 2025 Executive Committee of the IPF, we decided that the following knee sleeves would be removed from the IPF approved list for use in competition with immediate effect. However, athletes would be permitted to continue using until August 18th, after which they would no longer be allowed in any event sanctioned by the IPF. Blah, blah, blah. Lists all the knee sleeves. Following complaints received from manufacturers, athletes, the executive committee revisited the decision on May 9th and agreed to suspend the cancellation. So they suspended the suspension. Yeah, two suspensions
Hmm.
cancel each other out, I guess. Consequently, the use of the aforementioned knee sleeves has been extended until 31st December 2026. These knee sleeves may be therefore continue to be used in IPF sanctioned competitions throughout the end of 2026. During the extended period, the executive committee will conduct a review of the technical rules and equipment manual and will initiate a process for setting up a new approval procedure. So they were banned, they're unbanned, and now they're they're going to be approved until the renewal of all the approvals, which is the end of 2026. Because if people don't know, these companies need to pay large sums of money. I've heard anywhere from 50,000 to 150,000 to even more. I don't know what these numbers are in order to be approved, and it's good for 3 years for the 3 year period starting in 2023 to 2026. So all the equipment we use could be banned after 2026, or it could all be approved. We could get new stuff or whatever. So that really depends on if it's worth these companies shelling out all this money.
Yeah.
So initial thoughts. I have a bunch of thoughts, but what are your initial thoughts?
Well, knee sleeve is no, or stiff sleeves aren't cheating anymore. Looks like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's the first thought, I guess. A lot of us realized how much we relied on the sleeves. I know that. I know I did.
Hmm.
And I bitched like crazy too. And then I went and bought a set of stiff A7 knee sleeves instead of the rigor mortis ones. So I was one of the
And how
suckers.
are they?
Like they're small and they don't help at all. It's like essentially wearing a plastic bag on your knees. Your knees will sweat, but you get no support. It's just there. It's just to keep them warm, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my biggest problem is things were banned. Usually, if you can't use something, you sell it. So I'm sure lots of people sold their sleeves. Then, unsure what to do, they probably didn't just go buy one set of sleeves. They probably went and bought a set of SPDs, a set of A7s, a set of somebody else, and compared them to try to find out which sleeve is going to work for them. So all
Hmm.
of these companies all have boosts in their sales for all these products. Um, and now all of a sudden, people probably aren't going to use those products anymore that they just purchased and go back to using the products they were using previously that they might have sold, and now they got to buy them again. So I just feel like congratulations, we all got swindled. Um, but yeah, it's embarrassing. It's upsetting. It's yeah, terrible for a growing sport to take money out of the athletes' pockets. And not a single one of these companies that I've seen has done anything to like try to alleviate it. Like, hey, did you buy
Yeah.
a set of our knee sleeves because you thought your sleeves were banned? How about get a discount or get a free shirt or like nobody's actually trying to make anything up or stand out. I see a lot of marketing by some of the larger companies right now on their products, but nothing directly targeted at like, hey, we screwed up. Like here's some money. We profited
Yeah,
off this. Like everybody whined, but like all of these companies profited massively off of this. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
yeah. And I don't know if you can put that on the companies themselves, because I think if we're trying to find a positive here, it could be like it's good that there's that much outrage from it. So to show that the sport is in fact growing, that a lot of people do care about these little intricacies that maybe the IPF, when they initially had like put these rules in place, they didn't likely think that there was going to be, or obviously didn't think that there was going to be this much of an outrage for it. And there was, so that definitely this like back step was in place. But I think it shows that the sport is huge and that it is likely bigger than they anticipated. So I think that's a positive. Um, yeah, I'd want to say that like the companies potentially could, but they could have, like, the risk reward was they definitely benefited in hindsight of all this, but they could have definitely lost a lot. Um, uh, I think there's been a lot of stories around the quality control of some knee sleeves
Yeah,
and certain brands having a higher quality. Um, and I've definitely been the benefactor. Like I've just stuck to one knee sleeve brand and I've used them. Um, I like we can be biased on this. It's just what we use. So I've used SBDs for weightlifting and powerlifting. I don't find the benefit that I get out of them is what every lifter I think that uses them is the pocketing of the sleeve behind it, which is why you even see a lot of weightlifters using them. They have a weightlifting knee sleeve as well, but I've bought those, haven't, like, I've used them for like a couple training sessions and I don't like them for weightlifting, but like they've had some tearing, but like not nearly as much as I've gotten the stiffer knee sleeves. And after like three uses, the seams are kind of buckling on them,
yeah,
and just by
yeah,
putting them on and off, which could
yeah.
be a benefit of having a stiffer sleeve as well. Or I mean, a side effect of it. But yeah, I think it's putting the like kind of the uprage of all the brands benefiting and being like, okay, you've benefited. What are the lifters going to do? And then they're probably stuck in a like a rock and a hard place. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we saw a boost in sales, but like, how can we continue to see a growth in our products, but not then be in the deficit because of this? Because
Yeah.
everyone's getting a discount.
Well, the interesting thing is I get anonymous messages about all of this from people that are quite well informed and have connections within the IPF and within the CPU and stuff. And this all started because one of the major companies wanted to do third-party testing on their competitor. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and what they were looking at was the thickness of the sleeve. And what they said is like, hey, we need to test on these sleeves because the more rigid ones are thicker, and that goes against the rules of being 7 millimeters or less. Well, it ended up that this company that wanted to do third-party testing, their own products failed.
Damn,
And
that
then
backfired.
so instead of yeah, it backfired. So then what happened is they switched the target to how many layers the knee sleeves had, and then they said, hey, ours is one layer of neoprene. It seems like these other companies are multiple layers. Um, what's the deal here? And then all these sleeves were tested, and it turns out they're all single layer neoprene. So then this company went and decided to try to say, hey, their sleeves are actually made out of a different type of neoprene than ours. And then what's allowed? Well, within the rule book, there's nothing that mentions neoprene, the type of neoprene.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a made up rule. And that's essentially why they got banned was the from what my understanding, the type of material that it was made out of.
That was the
Um,
different types of manufacturing. That was probably
yeah,
that, eh? Yeah.
yeah. And what happened is these companies originally showcased a sleeve, got it approved, changed manufacturers, still stayed within specs, but now the type of neoprene being used was different. And we actually noticed this with what we talked about in the last Sleevegate episode was that we had purchased sleeves right when a sleeve was released. So I think it was Inzer, their Ergo Pro sleeve was released. We had a bunch of our athletes buy the sleeves, then they ran out. And when the new batch came out, they were completely different. They were much more flimsy. They weighed almost half as much. We weighed them on like food scales and compared them. And they didn't nearly have the same kind of uh, assistance. Well, they're not allowed to have assistance, but they did, or
Hmm.
they felt like they did. Than the original ones did, and this made that first generation of this sleeve very sought after. And we have athletes within our club that have these, and we have athletes that use the second generation one. So um, it's very interesting that this is mostly just competitors going after each other, and it has a lot. And then these large companies trying to save money, right? So maybe they create something that's very high quality, get it out, get it approved, and then shift their manufacturing to meet demand, which is a greater number of sales, and then they have to reduce the cost of production. So, um, will we ever know the truth? Probably not, because there was also some high level like exits at the IPF right when this
Hmm.
happened. So um, the president had to step down due to personal and business reasons. And is it related to this? We probably won't know. So a lot of it is just speculation and like hearsay, and that's all I'm gonna say is like a lot of this is just what I've been messaged. But what we do know is these sleeves are allowed, and I think it's setting like a precedent that like sleeves are allowed to help, even though it's against the rules. Like we've kind of determined that
Hmm.
like the reason they were banned is because they help is what the messaging was,
Yeah.
and then now they're allowed. So I don't know how that's going to change things. Will we see other companies come out with sleeves that do this? Who knows? 2026 is around the corner, and we're going to get a whole host of new applications and stuff for new types of equipment. So all I'm saying is I'm training in non-stiff sleeves or non-rigor mortis sleeves, and then I'll throw those guys on like a month before my competition and
Yeah. Let's see what
see if that
happens.
helps, right?
See
Because
if it
like
changes your entire squat.
it's gonna mess it up for sure. Changes my leverages. But yeah, it's just interesting, and it's just one of those very small details that like any average Joe that you tell about this is going to be like, what is this nonsense that you're talking about, right? Like, why does this matter, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it
um,
could be like it could be something as small as like say in hockey, as you know, like having
hockey.
illegal curves or something like that
What? What do you
for
mean?
a system. Yeah.
What are
So
you talking about?
there's a certain amount of curve that you can have to a hockey stick. And there is a rule in place for that. So there is like equipment rules in like any sport. So and there is equipment rules in like in powerlifting as well. So I think it's good that this whole debacle happened in terms of it growing as a sport and then like as a sport trying to be more distinguished as it. To have something like this happen to like uh and you know it hasn't made headlines probably anywhere other than like in the powerlifting realm, but to have something like this happen where it's you know getting caught up in and shared around different sports and stuff like that I think is a plus. And then especially if you can break it down to be like why is it happening and then for people to find out more of like the in-depth details of it, I think it's a plus.
Yeah, yeah.
um but yeah,
Well,
to have like it's yeah, and even like as lifters like adapt to rules, that's perfect because they're still in the sport, so that's good. Purchasing beyond that kind of sucks, but as every powerlifter will say of it being like an expensive hobby or a sport, it's like in any other sport. Like say just sticking on the sport of hockey, for example, like a stick is, you know, now $300 to four hundred
holy
dollars.
smoke.
So you're gonna get probably a couple of those, and then you're gonna have to get another next season. And that's not even like registration. That's just like one part.
That's
whether you
crazy.
get like a new bucket, new skates, anything like
Yeah.
that. So, and like a big sport like hockey compared to powerlifting is not a comparison, but just in terms of like equipment, that's definitely part of it. And even as say if you change any of your technique, you're going to be buying different knee sleeves to experiment, buying different wrist wraps. Maybe you don't like the rigid ones, maybe you like the flexible ones. Like options are always great, brands are always great, just because like in hockey, there's different brands. There's CCM, Bauer, Reebok. There's all these different ones. So to have like, and they definitely compete against each other, and they have sponsored athletes, some big like notable athletes, and for marketing stuff. So it's the same in powerlifting. Um, but I definitely think that one brand definitely haunts that realm. And it's up to like the other brands to maybe that's something that comes out of it of
Mhm.
you see big brands like A7, Inzer trying to compete with those the SBDs of the powerlifting world to be like, hey, SBD has ruled, sponsored athletes, and maybe it's time to get some big old affiliates, some
Yeah.
to scoop up some lifters because of this. Because
Yeah. I
now is
think.
the time if they're gonna make some jumps
Yeah.
with having like a whole A7 kit for an athlete and stuff like that. And you know what, they may already have it, but maybe they don't have some of the big numbers that SBD has. But now would be definitely the time to jump on that.
Yeah. I haven't seen that, and I've talked to some people at different levels of these companies, and they didn't even know like what SPD offers their athletes or like Team Canada athletes specifically because we're Canadian. Um, Usually your kit is free if you're an open athlete, and it's 50% discount if you're a master athlete, as long as you wear it on the platform. So you can't like go out and buy all your friends' gear,
Yeah.
um, but you can go and you can buy a full kit, maybe a couple sets of different things, like maybe you need two sets of sleeves or like whatever, two sets of wrist wraps. As long as you're going to use that on the platform, you'll get it either free as an open or 50% off as a master's athlete. Um, and I've talked to other companies about getting sponsored or what their sponsorship opportunities are, and they didn't even know their competitors did this. So it would be interesting to see if we started to see this because I'd love to see other names on the podium. It just seems that there are very dominant sponsors, which is good because that's obviously means they're funding, they're providing large sums of money to the sport. But
Hmm.
competition is always good, and that's what we need, and that's going to drive innovation and new products and new opportunities for athletes and stuff. So I think the other good thing that came out of this, just the last like line of this letter was that they said they'll conduct a review uh, and will initiate a process for setting up a new approval procedure. So maybe things were a little bit lax in how things were being approved previously, and that's how like sleeves that actually help you assist your lifts were allowed to get through. Um, Maybe testing will be more rigid. Maybe the standard would be more rigid. Maybe they'll be closer to following the rule book in terms of like what's allowed. Because the whole point of the raw equipment is to not have that rigidness that you would have in equipped where you can't bend your knees. And like
Yeah.
my rigor mortis sleeves are old enough that like I can just walk in them. Like they don't last very long, and they split the back seam splits very quickly, so they become much looser. Um, but there's kids at our gym that like they walk like they're pencil legs, like they can't even bend their knees. So
They're
and that's
equipped. Yeah.
they're basically equipped. So
Yeah.
um, whether or not those will be allowed in the future, I don't know.
Yeah. And
Because
that's such a tough barrier because say with like a belt, it's like, well, there's 10 mil, 13 mil, and
Mhm.
like when you get a belt, as soon as you get it, it's like impossible to close. And then like a prong belt, for example, but your whole like whether you stick it under your bed, under your truck tire, whatever you do, is to like
Yeah,
break that leather up.
yeah,
So I'm curious to see if they're what that sort of testing, if they're trying to see if they're all equal assistance or tension or whatever term they want to use. How is that going to be tested? Because that'd be funny. They just use like 25 lifters and get them to squat
Yeah.
in different sleeves to
Yeah.
see that
How
they
much can you
squat the
lift?
exact same. Yeah, you squat 300 kilos with all brands, or is there some brands you squat more than 300 kilos? So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a funny, yeah, it's a funny threshold because like even say before all these brands came out and there was say just the SBD like tail as old as time, and there was still competitors that would get multiple knee sleeves and then they just would have one for competition that wouldn't be as
Yeah.
worn out and stuff, so like that's still very common. And then like if you're basing it on how tight it is, like that could be assistance. Like if it arguably, like I think an obvious statement would be that you get more off a rigid knee sleeve than like a tighter, less used SBD knee sleeve.
Oh yeah.
But or like non-rigid knee sleeve, not just SBD, but you can be just as strong without the rigid one. And it's just a matter of, how you're using the equipment. And then it gets into the whole like, well, if we're taking such a fine line, when are they going to look at the lifts individually and adjust those? And sumo, like that was a big thing that came out. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, now sumo is coming into question. Like now it's just a matter of time until that domino falls or something like that, because a lot of the records are like sumo pullers. But hey, if it's absolute load, like again, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's within the rules. But um yeah, I think if we're just based on equipment and stuff like that, like even like if you want to talk singlets,
Hmm.
like there's definitely some singlets out there that probably don't offer more or less assistance, but like there's some that are more snug, and then lifters could definitely experiment with that. There's probably a lot of lifters out there that have a number of singlets and or have like a handful of singlets that they like pick and choose, or after a couple of years they replace in that. So it's kind of part of the sport to see, as you adapt your technique or your training, or you gain weight or lose weight and what you do. So that's part of the
Yeah.
sport. But having this fiasco with Sleevegate is is a questionable kind of way around it, but a fun ride to be on.
Oh yeah, definitely. It keeps it exciting and like, hey, I like spending money that I don't have
Yeah,
to. But I
yeah,
actually worked
I'm
out, yeah, it worked out in my favor because I'm actually gonna get stronger, not wearing the rigor mortis sleeves again. I got so
yeah.
used to them. And now like
Mhm.
I'm blowing up my squats. Squats are feeling good. So hey, A7.
Hey,
Maybe you wanna sponsor a
you
buddy?
want to
Want to
slide into
sponsor?
Dino's DMs, and
Slide into my DMs.
a little box appears on your doorstep.
Yeah. That'd be great. That would be
Yeah.
great. Cool. All right.
All right. So part two, and this is 22, feeling
Yeah.
22. T Swift, you know you're Taylor Swift, right? You gotta.
Yeah. Yeah. Famous hockey player,
The most famous hockey player out there. Yeah. I knew you were a T Swift fan.
right?
You're a Swifty.
Yeah. Excellent.
But yeah, part two of this, going into provincials that just happened a couple weeks ago. Um,
Has it really been a
the
couple weeks? Holy smokes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Okay.
took after Keystone, I took a much needed, uh, what did I say, like powerlifting, lifting kind of break from everything. And I was like going into provincials because I knew I had to do it if I'm going to regionals and nationals. So it's like, man, my training the last, as with any lifter, is like, hey, training block not ideal. But I was like, going into this, what am I gonna do? So then we were like, you know what? Let's just do 75 kilo squat. We'll bench and we'll do 75 kilo deadlift. And then when I showed up the morning of, I was like, let's just go for broke here. Let's see what happens. And
Yeah.
so but yeah, so it was a fun time. Huge provincials, like
Massive. I know. Three
insane
days.
amount of competitors. 3 days for a provincial meet is almost unheard of. So glad to see that. That was like second biggest provincials overall. I believe the next biggest was like the year after COVID, or the year yeah, right after COVID, when they got rid of the qualifying totals. So um I mean, an increase in qualifying totals didn't ruin the competition and the amount of lifters, which is always good, and a lot of first time lifters, or first time provincials. So again, growth of the sport, people getting upgraded with knee sleeves, right before it too. So that was fun. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah.
No, that was good. And then drug testing was there.
Hmm. Yeah, our boy was there. I know. I talked to him for like 10 minutes, and then because they were in the back room, and I know the people fairly well from weightlifting. They're pretty involved. So
Yeah.
then people were coming up to me and be like, "Hey, are you getting tested?" I was like, "Oh, no." But I was like, "That probably does look like it." Yeah, but no, I know they're on day three. I'm not sure of the other 2 days, if they were there for the juniors and that.
I I don't think so. I think he was just there for that day, from what I
Yeah,
understand.
just a couple guys. Yeah,
But
but mhm.
but yeah, we don't have much time to cover athletes here. But is there any, I guess, notables or standouts that
Well,
you
yeah,
can?
let's go through the days. So we'll go through standouts, just to make this episode kind of nice. We had the bench only in day one. So
Well,
there's a lot of
yeah, we had
lot of
Daniel attempt to break his record, I guess, and he
yeah.
didn't get it, or no? No, he didn't get it.
No, he didn't get it. He did 223 twice, almost, but
Yeah,
not quite there.
and
He'll definitely get it. He's doing NAPFs next, so he's gonna smash that.
it
Um,
looks like Susan Haywood had a record. Sarah Duncan had a record.
mhm. Yeah, she
Uh,
got the raw record. Sarah Duncan got a record as well. Came back on a third and got it. Animal.
Jackie
Uh,
Broski record as well.
yeah, Brent Ham got a record.
Yeah. Oh wow,
143 kilos, unreal. Darren Timniak, another 3 for 3. Absolute beast of a performance.
that's your boy. He
That's
got
my
his
boy.
105.
Yeah, he's got to do 3 lift next, but nice showing for him. We'll hook him in.
Okay,
All
so let's
right.
move to Saturday session one.
And this
Uh,
this was sub juniors and juniors, the male females. So we
so
had quite the gambit here. Any
yeah,
big names that kind of pop up for you here?
well, we talked about Rodrigo in the past. He's a athlete
Hmm.
from our gym. He won the best sub junior
Hmm.
with a 582 total, 77 IPF points. He he pulled 247 on his second deadlift, and he goes up to his coach and he says, "Coach, put 600 pounds on there. I'm going to pull it." And his coach, like who's one of our coaches at the gym, says like, "No, you pulled like 250, you get the record, or 255 or whatever it is, you get
Yeah.
the record. You're still in first." Like, so, anyways, the kid begged him, uh, and he was able to convince him to put 270 on it, and he pulled it, and he got it up, but he just had the smallest little like downward motion.
Hmm.
Um, so it was something like a 20 kilo PR, but it didn't count. He still won, still got best sub junior.
Hey.
But what a crazy pull, because he went to the back and he almost blacked out. He started shaking and like, did I make it? Did I make it? And, yeah,
What happened?
what happened? So that
Yeah.
was crazy. And then
Hmm.
another athlete from our gym, uh, one of my guys, newer. We talked about him in the past as well. 93 kg junior. He ended up as the best lifter as well. So our gym snagged both best lifters for this session, with a massive 37.5 kilo total PR. This kid had the best meet you can possibly have, I think.
Is this Noor?
Yeah, Noor.
Yeah.
Missed his bench record attempt. He wanted it. I wasn't going to load it. 172 probably would have been a better call, but he wanted to push for it. Or he would have gone 9 for 9, but managed a huge, like, I think 20 something kg deadlift
Hmm.
PR. Yeah, just a massive meet for him. Like this kid is definitely totally over 700 as next comp. I looked at the standings. I'm pretty sure he's a shoe in for Keystone. Just on GL, he's got 88.5, so he should make
Yeah,
the top 10 men from what I was looking at.
if
Um,
TBD, but
TBD, but
we'll probably
it's
have some stuff on that. Yeah, if it's given the same one, yeah,
yeah, it's
the
pretty
same
close. So
breakdown. Yeah, because I
uh,
see he just snagged that because he got 88.56 and Xavier
yeah,
had 88.4.
yeah, and I actually ran up and put more on the squat just to like
Yeah.
try to get that best lifter award. Because I
Hmm.
knew Xavier is insane. Like that, like he is a beast. Like what did he end up with? Xavier.
713. He
Yeah,
got 273 squat, insane. Missed his second bench, does similar to when he did the one. Missed a lift, went up anyways. He doesn't give a
yeah.
damn.
No, it's
Went
crazy.
up, hit it, 265 to 290, then missed 300. And I think he
Yeah,
just missed it at the top, if I remember right. But yeah,
yeah,
that
that's
kid's
crazy.
an animal of a junior.
So
Uh, and a 104 in a
yeah,
105 class. He's gonna be a wrecking ball in there.
and then other notables, I think. Well, Orson's one of the younger ones. He started as a youth, I think, and he's always impressive to watch. And then Trinity is definitely a favorite amongst the women. She won the best lifter for the junior girls. Um,
Yeah,
Amazing meet, 443 total, huge. Um,
443.
or 443, sorry.
43. You'd give her that kilo.
Yeah, give her that for
Yeah,
sure.
there's a record in there. There's a
Yeah,
the pole record. I'm not sure, maybe even the total record as well.
yeah,
We could
it's
probably find that.
205.5. Yeah,
I feel like
probably.
443 was maybe total,
443,
but
yeah.
at least a deadlift record. But she had a challenging meet. Still, she definitely saved it at the end with
Hmm.
and a smart play there to do 205.5 at the end there. But yeah, a couple missed lift, probably not the meet that she wanted. I think she had some other things going on, but um, yeah, that just goes to show that Western's going to be a real fun time. Next day there's is there any there's so many. This is the downfall of our listeners here. Oh,
Session
next
two.
episode we will be discussing um we'll do some research for our next episode to find out some differences in GLs for each class, meaning like each age group, because that
Like
is something
like
that
what the
was
average
brought
is?
up. Yeah, like we talk about like 80s and 90s and how 100's insane
Yeah.
and to be competitive at a national level, but um, we had I had a conversation with Brent Ham about for like what's an M1, what's a really good GL for like an M1 or an M2 or an M3 lifter, because I know we're shouting out a lot of locals and what they're doing, but it is a pretty focused, a pretty open and junior focused GL score. So to be continued,
Yeah,
but
the
I'll
thing
leave
about
that clip.
that.
I'll hook the listeners in there. Um, all right, but going on to session two, we had some masters and an open. So we had one open lifter, Alexi Runke, and then we had some masters,
Yep.
quite a few.
Was
Um,
Jeanette in there? Was she equipped or was she raw?
yeah, Jeanette, she did equip. She had a fantastic meet, an insane pull that she has been hunting down. I believe she wanted maybe a tad bit more, but I think she can be nothing but happy with that day. Um, Finished the day with 9 for 9 meet, 137 squat, nice, 90 bench, very good, very consistent, and then 178 for the record. Um, and then other ones, my boy Donald Marcel getting back in the mix. His first meet in a while. Not his best meet. I believe he's about 15 or so kilos shy, but for like a 6 week block hitting it running, I was very happy with that. Your boy Ryan,
Yep.
Mr.
M1
Ryan
best
wins.
lifter. He got his best lifter
M1
for
best
M1.
lifter.
Or
No big
actually,
deal.
sorry, overall Masters best lifter.
No big deal.
Yeah. And he had
Um,
a hell of a meet. I think it was
yeah,
only, his total was only maybe a kilo, no, half a kilo higher than his previous total or something like that. But I think he managed to snag two records. Um, what did he end up with? Squat
hmm.
and deadlift, maybe. Yeah,
Okay.
deadlift or total. I can't remember which one. They're
Yeah.
both hanging up at the gym now, but yeah, good meet for him. He just wanted to kind of have fun with it because he's doing North Americans.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just wanted to. I think he just wanted that squat record, to be honest. But that's what he did. Other
And he
fun
got on his
things.
third, yeah.
Yeah, he got on his third.
Hmm.
Um, David Gervey, the always fun and
Puts on a
entertaining.
damn show, yeah.
He was there. It was good. Good to have him back there. The
Yeah.
funniest part of my day during that session was Mr. David Gervey decided to warm up with my boy Ryan, who's like 6 feet one
It's
or
a lot of
something.
fun, yeah.
And David, I don't want to offend him because I don't actually know his height, but let's just say he's not
It's
6'1".
5'5".
So we had just the two boys at one rack warming up for squats, and you got Ryan at 20 or whatever
Hmm.
the rack height, and then David at like
Four.
whatever. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. David.
But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's kind of the ideal if there's only two in a rack. If you're gonna have that situation, at least it's
Yeah.
not you have like three other guys at
Yeah.
18 and then a guy at 9.
Yeah. It was just
But
it was
that's
funny,
definitely a contrast.
but
Yeah.
yeah, that was great. Any
Yeah,
other
what numbers
notables?
that he had a really good meet too. I remember
Yeah,
watching he attacks that bar every single one. What did he end off? Yeah, 152 squat, nice. And then 9 for 9 meet. You can't ask for much more from him.
I think he said
For
he was doing that just to get on the pod. You know, he was
oh
just
well, look
he
at
was
this. Look
yeah
at that
wanted the
that little
shout out.
gem drop. Yeah. Well, weighing in at 72.44 in the 74 class, M2 David Gervey makes statements. He's you know what? Some sub juniors and juniors. Take a look at Mr. David here as an M2 kid squat at 152 and a half, benching 110 and pulling 185. It's not other 72 kilo M2s walking around on this earth that could do that. So
No,
David's doing the damn thing. Um, then we had Tony Nickel just absolutely murdering some more records. Got a squat record, a deadlift record as well. I believe the total record as well. Great day overall from him from nationals there. Stepping his game up, self-coached. The guy just loves lifting, loves
yeah,
squatting too.
yeah,
But yeah, an absolute gem. Who else did we have here? Brandon Hunter, she hit it. She's been and a 9 for 9 day. But yeah, some insane stuff for her. Squatting 135, benching 65, pulling 147 and a half. So really consistent day for her to get back out there.
yep, yep, yep. Notable battle's probably a strong word, but these two girls
All these
faced off
battles.
at the one. Tyla and Patricia were both 84 plus M1s at the one. And
Yeah.
I think Patricia took it by like 5 or 10 kilos. This time around, Tyla came back, added 20 kilos to her total, and was managed to squeeze out that first place by 27 and a half kilos. So you can see
Yeah.
how these athletes can make massive,
I've seen it. Oh
massive.
yeah. Oh yeah. And then oh it was close. It was close.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it
look.
was close with two missed deadlifts by Patricia.
Yeah. Yeah. How she got
Oh, and
that
she's
deadlift.
pretty light too.
Yeah. Like it could have been a body
Yeah.
weight thing, you know? So very
Yeah.
interesting day
Hmm.
for sure as a coach for me to like figure out what to
Be
put on
like,
the bar.
yeah, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, because
So,
she went from 120 to 140 and missed it twice. So,
yeah,
but that would have gave her another 20. Oh,
I
that could have,
know.
well, that
It was,
still wouldn't have quite pulled the win, but would have made it a little bit more interesting for you, that's for sure.
yeah. Yeah. So always
Hmm.
fun. We also mentioned, I think, Manny Martin's Carmen in the past. She's in her 60s, cancer survivor, big social media
Yep.
influencer. Always trying to improve. Goal is to be world champ in the M3 84 plus class. Big goals for a
And she
60
made a
plus.
big step, attacking a provincial deadlift record.
Yeah, and
That's a
she
big first step.
got it up, I think about
Or,
halfway up and
yeah,
dropped it. But she'll get it next time.
yeah.
But
And 297 and a half, how big of an improvement is that?
I think that's the exact same total as last time, but she
She's
PR'd
matching.
her deadlift. So
Nice.
yeah, she PR'd her
Yeah, she
deadlift by
just
by
missed. Well,
4.
good probably adjustments on the squat there and on the deadlift. Like you can't do too much on a 2.5 kilo jump.
No.
But yeah, I'm sure she'll be. When's her next one? Do you guys know?
I think most people's next one is Western.
Westerns, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because we'll have a few before then. We have another meet in July, the Summer Classic,
yeah,
I believe it's called the Summer Classic, July probably 12th
19th, I think,
and
or
19th.
12th,
Psych,
July 12th, maybe. I don't know. It's one of those two.
yeah, mid July,
Yeah.
and then we'll have probably one in the fall.
Well, we got a bunch.
Um,
We got Jeanette wants to put on a mini total fortification. Then we got movement. Should have a sanctioning application coming in. Then we got University of Manitoba.
yeah, that'll be after the U of M one will be after
Oh, after,
regionals.
after.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Cool.
Tight.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty good session there.
Yeah.
Who would
Moving
have
on to
been? Oh,
Sunday.
yeah, we should probably
Oh,
just name Janie Jacobucci. She ended up as the M1 female best lifter.
yeah.
370 total, 82 GL. Always
And
strong.
yeah,
She looks like a
she's
bodybuilder. She's crazy.
a nationals veteran. And
Yeah.
she competes like she's a warrior because I remember it was I think it was in nationals 2022 when I was coaching too or 20 one of those years and I believe she flew out like the night before competed then flew out that night. I was like that's an animal of a turnover
Jeez.
for east like out east complete
Yeah.
time change everything. She's just there. She just has that yeah, like just that one job. She's like, I'm here to do one thing, and that's a lift. But yeah, she brings a ton of energy, a lot of fun to watch. And I actually want to look at to see comparably how she did here. Because I remember the last couple meets that she's done, she's been, I believe, nursing some sort of like injuries in that, uh, like with Brick House. I believe like she just squatted. Well, she did just squat 85 kilos, and she's like benched 80 and then pulled 180.
Yeah.
So, what was her last deadlift that she 183? So she went to beat her own record because she's got it at 182 and a half, or 180. And yeah, so she went to beat it, and just missed that. But yeah, her total that she ended was 370 and her best one was back in 2023, so probably before the last provincial she was at was 393. So she's a very and yeah for like just talking about that GL. So she is an M1 female, and I'm not sure whereabouts in the M1 she is, but yeah, as an M1 female to get 88.06 GLs. Pretty remarkable.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
huge.
And even in this last one having 82 and a half. So yeah, she's still definitely humming around that. I know she had a couple missed lifts, so all those numbers could have changed pretty decent because she did miss a squat and a bench. So there was and a deadlift, so there is a couple swings in there. So I'm sure she was swinging at the fences for her expectations of the day, but that's all powerlifting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. All right, now we go into Sunday. Sunday
Sunday,
session
Sunday.
one. Sunday. We had a beast of men here. We had
Oh
our
yes.
male opens filled the whole schedule up. Um, so yeah, in here, what do we have here? What do we have? So we had
We had
uh
Edgardo won the open best lifter and the
yeah,
overall
he
best
did
lifter.
with an almost hundo banger GL point performance. Has he have he gotten that that last pull for the record at 300.5? So I'm sure that'll fall with the 83 kilo in the 83 kilo class.
Yeah.
But an insane performance by him. And for the best open. And then in second spot with that, my boy Craig Roberts had a great meet. He moved on up to 83.
Ooh.
So with that, he was able to get a monster PR, 30 kilos, 30 damn kilos on his total.
Wow.
Um, not because he moved up a weight class and he gained looks like just about like 8 kilos. So
Wow.
he's loving life. So not quite a bump in GL yet, but he did miss. Yeah, because at nationals he got 93.42, but still 92.81, insane. And let's see, he
Yeah.
just missed a squat. So, you know, a pretty round day for him. 255 squat animal, 150 bench animal, 257 animal. So I imagine Westerns is going to be a lot of fun with him. And who else do we have here? Oh, we can't not mention the guy that is officially he's made it. He's a 74 kilo lifter and he
Oh yes.
spit in
Oh
our
yes.
face. He showed us.
Yeah, he showed us. He
He
said he'd
showed
never do it.
us.
He'd never do it.
He never did it, and I maybe I even said that he could make it because he didn't do the hard cut. So I'm gonna take zero credit for that. But weighing in at 73.72, Mr. Salmar Atienza, right
Yeah.
after Keystone, he comes in and he performs. So pretty insane dude. The guy just can't stop competing. Competing and cutting.
Yeah.
Competing, cutting, and taxes. Three things guaranteed in life with Salmar. Um, great day for him, though. 605, still humming around that 88.95 GLs. He will break that again, that 90 GL barrier because I believe he hit that in December at Total for it. And we had Daniel Ristician, or would you call him rotisserie chicken,
Rotisserie
Mr.
chicken.
Dan the man.
Yeah.
And if I didn't shout out, not only a fantastically good looking and strong guy, but a fantastic baker as well. For
Yeah.
all your baking needs, contact him.
Is he
So
officially a sponsor or what?
he's gonna be. I mean, I don't want to say that. Pay the man. The guy does enough charity work. You have to pay him. He will probably fight you to accept payment, but man, there are a few people that can bake like that guy.
Yeah.
Um, but and even less power lifters. But 75 kilo squat came out the gate swinging. 213 and a half bench, and then I because yeah, 213 and a half bench, and then sorry, and then a 220.5. So he got that record there. Damn right. and then pulled 125 for the spotters and loaders, and then said, "See you later." But one thing that we have to talk about, and you know what, he'll take this with a grain of salt, but on the Friday, it definitely took a lot out of him because his GLs 102.177, insanely high GLs. And then if we go into Sunday, all that benching did a lot of work because it almost split his GLs in half with 55.126. So
Well,
tough.
might have something to
You
do with that.
couldn't quite recover from that bench session on Friday.
That 75 kilo squat
Yeah,
didn't help.
didn't help. But and his squat is strong, like, and his pull is strong. So he's gonna come and he's gonna blow the absolute boots off the 93 kilos class when he decides to put a 3 lift meet together. Although he does have NAPFs coming up, so I'm sure that in terms of priorities, it wasn't all that he needed. Actually, what's the oh what he could have done? Yeah, that's definitely lower than the regional qualifying total. That would have been interesting for him to do that. Just do the regional qualifying total, but the national qualifying total is beefy
Yeah,
for
it's huge.
93. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was probably
it's
him
710.
and his
I
coach
think.
is probably like, yeah, you know what? Let's just focus on bench and let's just have some fun here,
Yeah.
which he does. He has fun doing everything. So
Oh yeah.
um, so, but great on him. I can't wait to see his next 3 lift meet to talk about the insane progress. We're going to be talking triple digits for his progress there. Joseph Dabu, uh, I'm not going to say a sandbag. I'm not going to say it, but a 9 for 9 meet nonetheless. And I believe, and definitely first in his class, and still like a 92.944 for a meet that you probably just relaxed and kind of had some fun with. Is probably pretty chill to squat 230, bench 142, and pull 250, then say see you later.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good day. It's a pretty good day. And weighing pretty light, 71.64, pretty light for a 74. So but again, super strong Dabu bloodline, holding it down. And then Jordan Smith keeping it in. Let's see. Let's go back to Jordan Smith
66
after his
kilo.
nationals performance. Oh, did nationals take a little bit out of him? Well,
I don't know what the goal was, to be honest. Was it to get a bench record or something, or no?
um, likely Jordan Smith just trying to get some rehearsal with some bench because he benched 120, and then at Nats he got 117 and a half. Although
Oh,
that was a different setting. He definitely had more there. But at that point, I think he was just going for something a little bit more secure because his competition there was haven't was struggling, we'll say.
right, right. I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
So I think if he needed it at Nats, I think he would have had it anyways. But it's good to see that he just went and cranked her out. 2.5 off his all time.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
NAPF's watch out, Jordan Smith's coming to your continent.
There you go.
Um, who else do we have here? Who didn't we have is probably easier because there's a lot here. And then we had Non uh, didn't probably have the day that he wanted, but coming back in his second meet in probably since probably a handful of years. I think we said what was it, like
Yeah,
4 or 5 years?
I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, he had 4 missed lifts, so probably not the day he wanted, but still finished with 89.864 GLs. So that is pretty insane.
Hmm.
And yeah, 6 years, 6 years between meets. Um, He still boosted his GL, still bumped it up, weighting in a little bit lighter. Uh, oh, that's yes. Weighed in at Brickhouse he weighed 80.78, and then at Provincials he weighed 80.70.
There
So
we
that
go.
0.08 gets you a little booster in GLs. It all matters. It all matters. Um, but yeah, so he uh, got a little booster on his squatted 5 kilos more, bench the same, and then just deadlifted 5 kilos less. But he was going for he missed 255, then 265, and then he missed his third squat and bench. So I think
Yeah.
I hope that he'll go to regionals, and we'll see a big performance by him. If he does regionals, I'm not sure if he's hunting for that, but that'd be something definitely to look out for. Another in his second meet, Ryan Qualley.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
so like you could put whatever on this bar for this guy. He's going to squat it 225 squat, 162 bench. I think that was more of the top end for him, and then 280 pull.
Jeez.
Oh no!
Unreal.
Oh
I
no!
know we talked about him last time, hoping that,
Yeah.
maybe he was gonna go to school in Switzerland or something.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, don't you have some learning to do,
Yeah.
Rylan? What
Yeah.
are you
Yeah.
doing? Yeah, because comparably, let's see what boost he got. Oh, this is no good. Yeah, he increased 37.5 kilos and boosted his GL points by uh looks like just under 4.
Jeez.
So that's tough. That's I hope unheard of in literally 2 months.
Yeah. That's insane.
That is hilarious. Another almost 9 for 9. A ref, Mr. Jarrell. We didn't even talk about the ex-president. But yeah,
What session was she in?
she. Oh, actually, no. I think she's coming up. She's coming
Yeah.
up. Yeah, we'll talk about her. Her last name, because she changed last names because she got married, so she flew under my radar for a little bit. But Jarrell, fellow
Yep.
ref, went 8 for 9, just missing his last pole. Great day for him. Very consistent. Let's see. Let's see how Mr. Jarrell did overall. Say. Are you going to take an attempt at Jarrell's last name?
Uh,
Oh,
Mar Mar
Marisagan?
Marasigan. Marasigan.
Marisagan? Marasigan?
M- Maraschino.
Ooh,
I don't know.
close. Uh, but PR performance
Yeah,
boosted
great.
it. Yeah, and since his last meet in February, so pretty tight turnaround for him. 10 kilo bumper, improving GLs, better squat, better bench, better deadlift, or not quite better deadlift, but he missed it.
Yeah.
That's
Better
why.
pizza. Papa John's.
Yeah. What more can you ask for? What more can you ask for?
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, in terms of on Sunday, the first session, is there anyone else that you wanted to?
No, no, I think we
Uh,
got. We're just gonna cover everyone if we keep going.
yeah, I could talk. I could talk. Okay,
You could
then
talk
the last
anytime.
session, the last session of the day.
Last session
It
of
was
the.
a tight
Yeah.
of the provincials.
Oh, we got some
What do we
really
have here?
famous people. Big names.
Famous.
Big names.
Yeah, big old names here. I'll say Dustin Everett
Got drug
with
tested.
a monster squad. May or may not have been tested. Nobody knows.
Oh,
270 squat, 165 bench, and a 300 pull.
wow. Huge.
I know he's been that his goal was a squat. So he got that. I don't think it was actually that might be close to his best.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that
270.
was
That's
his
insane.
best. That is his best. He boosted 15 kilos on and a 10 kilo squat PR, 5 kilo bench PR, and matched his deadlift and 93.55 GLs. So yeah,
Unbelievable.
given he gets that squat and or sorry, that bench and pull, we're shaping up even more. But yeah, he's and he was what he was, I believe, no, I guess he's always been, well, the last couple meets he's been 105, but I think he's going to be a nice 105 because he's 98.44. So
Yeah, he's
watch out 105s.
he could be a
What?
big 93 if you wanted to be.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, he's I think like 5 kilos off the national qualifying total for 105, given that he's 98 kilos. So I think if he has, if he trains a little bit more at that or makes those couple lifts, literally if he made his bench, that would be it.
Yeah.
Um, but who else do we have here? I think we already talked about me enough. A monster. I was actually gonna go. Uh, what was my original plan? 170, 180, 190, and then we're like, oh no, let's go 180. And then I was like, don't put anything over 192. And then 192 moved like garbage. So I was like, don't put anything more than 200. And then I saved my life under it. And then and then I squatted 212, so that wasn't great. And then I benched 160 at the one. I missed 155 twice, which
Jeez,
was
what
just
a mess.
hilarious. I was like, I actually don't know what's happening, but you know what? That's what I get for benching twice since the one. So
Jeez.
that'll do. Then I was just like, you know what? Let's just go 200, 220. And that was, I actually missed my, like probably half my warm ups just from running my mouth with the testing protocol peeps. So I was like, oh, I could probably make 200 if we just put it on. And then I did 220 and I was like, you know what? Let's just do whatever we can to get second. And then 255 was a gutsy jump.
Jeez, that's a massive attempt.
Yeah, 35 kilos. I've only done it once with one of my lifters, and it paid off. They won, so but not this time.
No.
So but it was a good day. I did everything that I wanted, kind of. Uh, um, but who else do we have here? This is so the ex-president, the Mar,
Marsh, Marsh, Marsh,
Marcigan.
yeah, Marsh.
I forget how you spell her other last name. Aaliyah. There's a hyphen in there. I'm not spelling it right. I can't even find her. So this is how you also can uh, start a new life with your lifter database.
Yeah,
Just change your
change
last
the
name.
name.
An absolute great performance. PR'd all of her lifts. Um, because it's the first time her name's actually registered under this last name. But um, let's see here. Had a good day. She only missed one lift with a third bench. So 152, 152, 75, 155. Nice 382. That's a nice round number total. I like that. 73.178. We like those numbers, Theo. We like those numbers.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, we had your gal there, Jennifer. How did that go for?
Yeah, she's interesting because like she just took up powerlifting in December.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy stuff going on in her life. And I said, hey, let's try this powerlifting thing. You've been a client of mine for 15 years. Why not try something new? And I think she totaled, I click on her name at first
15 kilo.
competition,
Yeah.
240 was her total at total fortification. Um, and she totaled 290. So 50 kilos since December.
Not bad.
uh,
And not bad at all. And then
and
13 GL point increase.
uh, yeah, 12.11
Mm-hmm.
GL increase. This is the lightest she's been. We had to cut weight again because she's like a 58.5 is her like body weight usually. So
Mm-hmm.
the goal before this meet was actually to go up to 63. She got a little scared, didn't think we'd make that jump from 275 to 302, I think we needed to go to Western
Oh, to
as a
regionals. Yeah.
regionals as a 63. So she said, why don't we just water cut one more time, get the 280 that we needed, a 5 kilo jump. I didn't like that because I knew she would have had um, the 63 total and we wouldn't have had to diet, but we did it anyways because the client is always right.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. But anyways, I put her last deadlift. I put on just shy of enough to get the 63 total since we
Mm-hmm.
had already got the 57 total, and she pulled both those two deadlifts. They just didn't count because there was some very small ramping, and I'm not even sure I agree with it, but I've watched the
Yeah.
videos 1,000 times. But she's got big quads, and her hands tend to like really scrape them,
Yeah.
um, which kind of like makes
So
it
some
jerky.
stoppage, yeah,
Yeah, some
makes it look
stoppage.
like she's ramping.
Um, but at 57 kilos, she pulled 152.5, and would have been 2 kilos short of the 63 total. So had she eaten, not water cut, we would have easily smashed the 63 total.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, she's going to Westerns. We're happy with that. But
Well, she can
just
still compete at Westerns at 63.
at 63, yeah, we're going to change weight
Yeah.
classes and do 63 for
Yeah.
sure. Just eat up now. But massive improvement. Like to go December, I don't know what day that was, December 15th, I think, to um, what was May 2nd or something like
Yeah.
that, like
December 14th to May 2nd. Yeah.
5 months or
She.
whatever that is, 50 kilos on your total. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Well,
pretty proud of
actually,
that.
CPU's cutting this. They didn't even put it's May 2nd here, but it was actually on the 4th.
Yeah. So,
Ooh, those
oh,
couple days matter.
yeah,
But yeah, yeah. And that was a short session too. That was
very short
quick,
session, very quick flights.
quick. Yeah, we had six in our flight. One, yeah, we had six people in our flight, which is hilarious. In the opens.
Yeah.
And then the females didn't have much better. I think they had eight. Yeah.
Yeah. 14
So
people in two flights instead of it could have been one flight, but
yeah,
yeah, but
that's the way she goes. But
that's
it
the
still
way she
moved
goes.
crazy fast. Yeah. But
But yeah, great meet for her. Other notables, Darian Granke won the Open best lifter and the overall female best lifter with a 9 for 9
yeah,
meet and a massive 403.5 kilo total, 92.6
yeah,
GL. And this girl
yeah,
has done 3 powerlifting meets.
yeah. I don't even know how that slipped. Darian, Frank.
So like she's competed 3 times.
Yeah, and she's always been, I mean, her last meet, she did movement in October, and then like 5 months later does provincials, gets a bumper of it looks like she moved down a weight class um for that one, and then did 91, got an increase of 15 kilos, a booster of 4 GL points, and then oh no, not four, uh a lot,
Eight, eight, I think.
eight, and then probably some coaching was like, let's not worry about it, let's just go for it here, and it paid off. In 63 she got a squat record, and bench 7.5 kilos more, pulled the same but got 403, sorry, 0.5, and 92.63. A pretty insane GL.
Yeah.
A pretty insane GL.
Oh, we got
So
one
yeah,
minute
she's
left.
probably top top 5 females if we
Yeah.
break out the all time.
Something like that.
But yeah, other than that, I think that's a good wrap on the epi. So
Yeah.
maybe we call her there.
Let's
Episode
call it.
22. This is the longest in the history, the longest episode in the history of the pod.
Yeah. A 2-part series.
Overdue. Yeah.
Right on.
All right.
Okay.
We'll see you
guys
next week.
time.
Few days.
Manitoba Power.
Right.
I'm DT. We're out.
Signing off.
Signing off.
It's caught in the crossfire.